gozaimasu. Morning. Part 3. What will be maybe a week later for you in terms of viewing is the next morning for me after that epic 200 kilometer, 3,500 meter climb ride. I've had some sleep, I had a good sleep, I had a good meal, and I've planned an easier day today. Still not easy, and I'm leaving later, so it's going to be hot, but should be okay. Should be doable. Riding through the center of Kochi, back into traffic light hell. Every 10 meters there's a traffic light with not the best phasing on it, has to be said. Didn't see a great deal of Kochi, did go out for a fantastic dinner in the izakaya, which is a sort of, well, people say it's sort of like the pub. Sort of cheap, snacky food and booze. But they did like a set plate as well, which is what I needed. So I got a set plate with loads of stuff on and drank 2 big glasses of sake. Very nice it was too. Back into pavement riding. It's a bigger city than I thought it was. The famous food is the bonito, which is a kind of like a tuna, which is what I had some of last night. Sort of seared on the outside, but basically raw in Japanese stuff. But it was very good. Slept well, got up early, but it was good just to have a bit of rest time. I didn't want to just sort of rush out the door at like 6 a.m. again. I needed a bit more time to recover. Legs are okay, ass a little bit sore. Today we've got about 120 kilometers. So not massive, and considerably less climbing. I think probably 1,800 meters. So it's almost half of yesterday. Over the bridge, over the big river. We're heading that direction, back towards the hills and the Shimanto Valley, the river valley, which is supposed to be absolutely stunning. So that's sort of our main goal for today, but we got to get there. Half of the day will just be getting to Shimanto. Getting a little greener now, a few k's out of town. Lights are green, that's the main thing. They go in waves, so if you see one ahead change to red, there's no point in sprinting because they'll just all the way down the line, even if you just make the next one. You just got to accept your fate. And then you're going to be waiting for a few minutes in the hot sun. Woo! Into the tunnel, sunglasses off. This one's got a decent sidewalk, that's good, because they don't always. Yeah, even a bike path. Out the other end. I did a long tunnel, one bad one yesterday, no bike lane. My rear light had run out of juice, not ideal. Trucks thundering through, but I used my front light as a rear light, as it were, just held it in my hand, flashing backwards so they could see me. But yeah, that was an unnerving experience. Tunnels and traffic lights, 2 things I don't like about Japan. Through another little town, the wonderfully named Tosa. Grow up here and, ooh, a bike shop. Or Honda shop and a bike shop. Maybe it's the same thing sometimes. Bringing in the rice harvest. Oh, lovely, look, see how they hang it in the sun. Oh, they're cutting with an actual machine. Time for a cold drink. We're exactly 1.5 hours, 35k in. So yeah, definitely time for some refreshment. It seems that family marts don't have seated areas, but there's like a little corner and it's air conditioned in here. So I'm going to have my CC lemon drink, big, 600ml, about a pound. And I'm not a big ice cream eater, but you know, why not sometimes. A palm, honey and cream cheese. Interesting flavours, also about a pound, so a couple of quid. And then I should be refreshed and ready for some climbing, I think. This is fantastic. It does taste of cream cheese in a good way, and the honey's sort of frozen in it. Very good. Highly recommended. Palm, cream cheese and honey. These are nice. I think these are called tori, the ceremonial gate. This is like a concrete one. I think traditionally they're wood, but that one's made of cement. Hills. We're actually going left here, I think. Get on the right side of the road, which of course is the left side of the road if you hadn't noticed here in Japan. So same as Thailand, same as a few Asian countries, but still headed for the hills. I can see there's one, we've got a bit of a climb coming up here, and then there's one fairly major climb, but nothing too crazy, and the rest are just sort of lumpy and bumpy. So it shouldn't be like yesterday. You never know. Following Route 197 now for about 13k into the hills. Starting to cloud over, for which I'm very grateful. The heat it's midday, it's like 12:30 noon now. It's about 35 degrees and humid. I can kind of cope with it, it's fine, but I know it's hot when I stop for a cold drink and cool down, get back on the bike, and like 30 minutes later I'm thinking I need to stop again. I'm not going to stop again, I'm going to keep going. There is some sort of rest stop, convenience store in about 20k or so, you know, about another hour. So yeah, I'll stop then. Actually, just after I said that, I looked down at my map and saw that the next 20k is 10k climbing and then 10k descending, so it might take a bit more than an hour. But even more grateful for the clouding over, because it's the climbing is when you get hot, because you're going so slow, you're not generating a headwind. But as I said, there's a bit of a breeze and all is good, and this looks like a little bamboo farm, little baby bamboos. Well, I knew I was probably tempting fate by leaving late. Just when you think you got an easier day and you can leave late. Yamazaki, a different convenience store, and you're not one of the big three. It does feel a little bit lower class. However, they got some food. I got real food because it's like 2 o'clock, so I definitely, yeah, it's time for some real food. And I got like a litre of sort of sports drink, so I'll have a bit of salt in as well, which is good. I think the food will be salty. So anyway, I'm going to get this, and then a few more kilometres that way, and then we start turning down the river, and that should be the good bit. It's about 2 p.m. It's cooled down considerably. It's about 32, 33 degrees now, but that does make a big difference. We're a few hundred meters up. We're on a little bit of a climb here for a few K up to Yoshihara town, and that's where we'll turn the left and start going down the river valley. I stopped, that convenience store was a little bit earlier, sooner than the one I'd planned, but I was hungry and it was there, and you never know, you might get to the one next town and it's closed or something. Had a great bit of advice many years ago from a traveller in India. He said, eat, sleep and shit when you can, not when you want. And I've always abided by that. Don't just wait for the perfect time. If it's there, do it, because you could regret it later. Now downhill all the way into Yoshihara, and I probably won't say no to another cold drink. Just having a little look around Yoshihara town. I like these. They're sort of a modern take on a classical Japanese architecture. We've turned into the Shimanto river valley. And we're going to be following this south now for about 40k. No major climb, so dare I say, should be a fairly easy end to the day. Oh dear, tempting fate. Cheeky left turn. Now we're around into Taisho, and that's where we're spending the night. It's 4:42, so that's pretty good because you couldn't check in until 4. This is another one of the slight issues with Japanese hostels. So there's no point in leaving at the crack of dawn and then you've got to wait around for hours to check in. Anyway, so there's a little hostel somewhere down this road. It's a lovely evening. Got time for a shower, food, beer, the usual, the Holy Trinity. And then we do it all over again tomorrow. Should be somewhere just about here, maybe in this little square. Pretty little town, I like it. Right opposite the bus station, Samaru. Konnichiwa. Excellent. Arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou. And we're off, day 4. Taisho, which is where we are, to Matsuyama. Big city, I think the biggest city on Shikoku, sort of northwest of here. Ooh, it's nice and cool out. Flashing red, I think that means we can go. It's early, that's the big red bridge in town. Back along the river. Ohayo gozaimasu. So morning, Ohayo, becomes konnichiwa, good day, at about 10 a.m. I believe. So we're good for a few hours yet. It's 6:30, which is when I wanted to get out by. We've got a bit of a ride today to Matsuyama. According to my computer, 146 kilometers. Now, depending on what I look at, Strava tells me 2,200 meters of climbing. Hammerhead says nearly 4,000. Some discrepancy. I'm hoping Strava's right. Legs are starting to feel it. Third big day in a row. But once we get to Matsuyama, I foresee some sort of rest day. Left for Uwajima at Kawasaki. So we came from straight ahead yesterday. So we were very close to the turn, which is nice. Up over the river. Nice and misty in this cool 25-degree morning. Certainly the first part of this ride to the town whose name I've forgotten is going to be, I think, equally lovely to yesterday afternoon. So we're following the Shimanto river still. I think we're going upstream now, so it'll be a bit more climby. There's a little town with everything needed from what I can see online in about 44 kilometers, so that's perfect. I had some brekkie, had some ramen, dried ramen, 2 coffees, excellent hostel in the middle of nowhere, and I bumped into my Korean friend Seo, also cycling, who got there a few hours before me, and he's off to Matsuyama today as well. So he likes to get up very early and get there too early and then not be able to check in. I'd rather leave a bit later. And also I think we might meet up with Hendrik again, so it's a small world, Shikoku. Locals out on their bikes, nice to see. Kids going to school, all dressed up, nice white bike. Going through some little town, don't know the name. There was another hostel up here today, I mentioned that yesterday, but it, for no real reason, just decided to close for a day, or maybe staff issues, I don't know. Anyway, if that was open, I think it's probably in this town, so this is where I'd have been staying. But it was fine, Taisha was nice, hostel was good, I was the only one in there, in my room, in my dorm, so I paid dorm price. Ohayou gozaimasu. I paid dorm price and got it all to myself, which was great. So I had a good night's sleep. Road conditions, road surface conditions. I'm on my gravel bike. I think I probably mentioned this a couple of days ago. It was a toss-up. I did think I might bring the road bike on this trip, fantasizing that all Japanese roads would be A1 perfect condition. But I did ask online in a Japan cycling group, and the general consensus was on Shikoku, mountain roads can get poor, and probably best to bring the gravel bike if there was a choice. So I brought the gravel bike, and that has definitely been the case, definitely justified that. Even that river road yesterday would have been quite unpleasant in stretches on skinny road bike tyres. And then I was speaking with Seo, the Korean, yesterday, and he definitely confirmed it by saying that he was having to avoid certain roads. So bring the gravel bike, you can ride anywhere, more or less. Time for a little break. I've done 40k, hour and 43. It's not hot, it's 26 degrees out, but it is very humid, so I'm sweating a lot. I've drunk half a bottle of water, so I'll refill that, have a cold drink, and get some snacks, because there may not be, in fact, there won't be any more family marts for quite some way. Well, this family mart's got a little seating area, which is nice. I got a sandwich, which I'll keep from the mountains. I got a sweet grapefruit juice, which looks good. And then I got a double cream puff. That'll do me. So, snacking into the mountains. Climbs are coming. Going through Kihori, small town. We've left the river behind now, and we're heading up into the mountains, so it's climbing time. Legs feel great on the flat. It's a different story. As soon as I start climbing, they start complaining, but no doubt we'll get into it. That's normally how it goes, and even enjoy it. Let the climbing commence. 10, 11k climb, fairly easy. Average 3%, 4%, so pretty steady. Last bit a bit steeper, and then 10, 11k descent, and then all the way back up, another 10k climb. That's how it goes. Roads are good, roads are quiet, sun's not out, still overcast. Temperature is a very cool 27 degrees, humidity about 120%. All in all, almost perfect. Route 441. The sun came out, temperature went up about what felt like another 20 degrees. But then almost immediately we came into the woods. So we're in and out of the woods, lovely pine forests, hairpinning up the mountain, not very steep, very kind and generous hairpins. Not too bad at all. First climb done, all the way down to that town at the bottom and then back up the other side. Question: what film does this landscape remind you of? There can only be one answer. It's got to be Spirited Away, Miyazaki's film. His most famous film. I'm not sure I'd say it was his best one. It is good. I feel it gets a little bit baggy in the middle, goes on a bit. Now, the Miyazaki connection is interesting because today we're going to Matsuyama. We're going to be staying near Dogo Onsen. Onsen's like the public baths, which I haven't been to yet. And Dogo Onsen is apparently the onsen that the one in Spirited Away was based on. So that would be very interesting to see. I'm not a huge anime watcher, and just to be clear, I'm not entirely sure the difference between anime and manga, or manga comics and anime is moving pictures. The only other one I've seen a few Miyazaki's. There's a fantastic one I can't remember the name of. I'll see if I can dig it up. Slightly science fiction-y, where a boy and girl wake up spontaneously one day in each other's bodies, and there's also time travel, but it is fantastic. It's such a good movie, so clever, moving, beautifully drawn, of course. Drying on bamboo made drying rack, and there's the bamboo. Didn't have to travel far. We're on a bit of a main road into town now, so not so nice. They're not big on bike lanes here. Either there's a separate one that's a bit rough, or maybe you get a little bit edge of the road, or you get nothing, but I've seen a lot worse. I stopped to take a photo of some cats, a rare cat, and look who I bumped into.
Huh?
Say hi, Seo.
Hello.
My friend from South Korea, yeah. And we're going in the same direction so we can ride together. We were on the main highway coming into town, and it was a bit of a horror. I mean, you can cycle on the pavements, but even then it was a bit of a pain. So I'm off it. I'm onto a nice little small lanes through the rice fields, and we're going to hit the river in a minute. And my friend Mark, who used to live here, his top tip was ride up the river. And look at this, perfect. Up on the dike, if that's what it is. Yeah, I think it is a dike. River, not much of a river, must be dammed, poor thing. But this will take us to the north of Matsuyama rather than riding through the centre of town. So thanks for the tip, Mark. I had been warned about the tram tracks in Matsuyama. It looks like we've got an old school tram and a new one crossing now. Cycle shop meets. I've come here for a very good reason. One, I want to get a tube. Change plans with the tyre. But there's a very good reason why I'm coming to this shop, which we may find out in just a second. Konnichiwa.
Hi, yasumase.
It's in Aladdin's cave. Got my inner tube, met the cat, had a good chat with the owner who was very sweet, spoke some English, and I'm treating myself at 7-Eleven with a Papico chocolate and coffee ice cream. Maybe I'm getting the taste for ice cream. Well, there's something up those steps of interest. We're in a nice little touristy area of Matsuyama. We're staying somewhere around here. It has been a superb day to finish part 3. 150 kilometers, but not that much climbing. Some very pretty roads. Bumped into some old friends, met some new ones. Oh, and there's the Hotel Eco Dogo. Dogo after the Onsen. Dogo is the area, I think. Check-in is soon, but the question is, do they have room somewhere safe for bicycles? That's always the question. Anyway, we shall explore, but it's good to arrive. Hotel Eco Dogo. I'm staying in the dormitory. Japanese dormitories are the best dormitories you've ever seen. And this one's no exception. So get your own little cubicle, like your own little house. You can pull the blind down. I always go for a bottom one if I can. AC's on. You get a little locker. Keep all your stuff in. Not that I've got much stuff. Very nice. And paid 3,000 yen for this, so about £17. Not bad. And the Dogo Onsen is nearby, so we're going to head to there in a bit.